how will you do it? How will you see it? In the laboratory. We'll go to the lab and we'll test it. We'll do experiment and we'll see it. Right? A direct perception we can understand it. Right? And sometimes this direct perception also it gives us actually illusory aspects. Sometimes what we perceive it may not be that much true. Right? So we'll see one by one. First is direct perception, direct sense perception. What we see, we believe that this is the knowledge. The second is called Anuman Praman. Anuman Praman is theories based on evidence. Theories based on evidence means there must be some evidence, and based on that, like we do the research. We look at the research करते हैं. First we study the literature, right? And after studying the literature, there are certain theories, right? And sometimes we take assumptions. And based on the assumptions, we make another theory, right? So that is called theories based on the evidence. Some with some evidence, with certain assumptions, we make some theory or we make some hypothesis, and that gives us another set of knowledge, right? There are many, I will come to those examples. And then Sabda Praman. Sabda Praman is hearing from the bona fide authority. इसका कोई example है sir? Any example from this? Hearing from the bona fide authority.
Hearing from teacher. गुरु से सीखना.
गुरु से सीखना. जैसे हम लोग बच्चे थे नहीं, when we were children, and when teacher says, is teacher's line, two lines, and then makes another line in between, and he says it is A, right? And we believe with yes, it is also A, right? Without any question, सर क्यों इसमें दो लाइन क्यों हुआ, बीच में क्यों हुआ, ऊपर हो जाना चाहिए था, कोई पूछा आपने? नहीं पूछा क्यों? We think that he is the bona fide authority, what he is telling it is true. As we gradually grow up, then we ask questions. ऐसे क्यों होता है, ये क्यों होता है, ये क्यों होना चाहिए, ये क्यों होना चाहिए. So there are many misunderstandings. Similarly also, mother is the most bona fide authority for a person. Right? Whatever mother says, we believe this. Also, who is your father, mother also says, yes, he is your father. Right? Yes, sir. How you recognize your father? Only mother helps us.
Just like Turkey and Akash. My mother is just like her,
Yes.
and my father is just like a sky.
Yes. So that is called hearing from bona fide. Right? When we hear from bona fide, we cannot reject it. Right? So that is another way of process of acquiring the knowledge. Right? So now if you see things we see but do not believe. Is there anything you see around you but you don't believe? कोई ऐसा चीज देखे हो इस दुनिया में? देखते हो लेकिन सोचते नहीं ये नहीं हो सकता. बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पल है. कोई एक एग्जाम्पल दो. हाँ? ऐसे दिखाई पड़ता है ऐसे है लेकिन ऐसे है नहीं. हाँ वेरी गुड. मिरर्स राइट. मिरर्स क्या है हिंदी में क्या होता है उसको?
नहीं बना पड़ा.
बहुत अच्छा. Very good. Yes, yes. So mirror is very prominent example. When we travel in the, like in sunny weather, you find in the road also you can find, right? You find that there is some water, but as soon as you approach there is no water. Water body you'll find, you'll see from distance there is a water body, but you'll find no water. Right? So this is typical example. Therefore, sometimes Pratiksha Pramana is not true, right? It may be false. Now you can see this example. What you are saying in this beaker or glass? क्या देख रहे हो इसके अंदर क्या है? हैं?
केमिकल है क्या है अंदर है
नहीं क्या देख रहे हो इसमें? What you are seeing? Some liquid is there, right?
Yes.
Here is also there.
And what is there inside? Another stick is there, right?
Yes, sir.
The stick is bent,
Seems to be there. Seems to be there.
but it is looks like it looks,
Looks like it.
but it is not bent.
No doubt.
How it is not? I will place it is bent because I am saying it is bent.
There is theory involved.
Huh?
There is theory involved.
Beautiful.
I don't know the theory. You go to a farmer and you sow him. If you go to a village and sow him, it will stick. It's a bent stick, right? Yes sir. आप लोग जानते हैं थ्योरी को बोलते हैं नहीं?
ये एक्सपीरियंस में भी है ना
एक्सपीरियंस है?
एक्सपीरियंस थ्योरी से बढ़ के है अब मिराज में हमको पानी नहीं मिलेगा एक्सपीरियंस से
But there is a theory also, right? You know that. So, what is this theory called? Huh? Theory of refraction, right? So therefore, we cannot acquire absolute knowledge through material senses. Whatever we have the senses, it is very difficult to get the perfect knowledge, or absolute knowledge, right? So therefore, whatever we see, whatever we develop, scientific knowledge is they are all relative. They are not absolute knowledge. What is the meaning of relative and absolute knowledge? Like sir told me, Brahma mithya. क्या है sir? जगत मिथ्या, ब्रह्म सत्य.
ब्रह्म सत्यम जगत मिथ्या जीव ब्रह्म नापर.
Yes. So these are illusion, right? Illusion means it is a relative world. Where we are staying, it's a relative world. That means it is not absolute. Okay. So therefore the theories, but we understand it is quite relative. It is not absolute theory, right? Why it happens so? We cannot understand the absolute truth through our blunt material senses because of the four defects in us. What are the four defects in us? First is imperfect senses. Therefore, we are putting on spectacles, we are putting on hearing aids, and we are putting on various types of devices. Still, we are not perfect because the devices are also not perfect. So, the imperfect senses. Imperfect sense, our senses are not perfect. Then, because of this, we remain in illusion, right? We become illusion into this world. Okay, this is called illusion. Illusion. Why illusion happens? It is because of imperfect senses. We don't have the perfect senses, right? And because of the illusion, we tend to commit mistakes. We cannot do a perfect activity or perfect work. We tend to do mistakes, and from the mistakes, what do? We have the cheating propensity. We cheat. There are many theories evolved, and we study in schools also. They are based on cheating propensity. Okay. So therefore, many theories are there, and it is part also later on. So the tendency to commit mistakes and then cheating propensity, right? Okay. So then we cheat and we try to overcome. In order to try to overcome, we cheat others, right? Now, four defects: imperfect senses. How we say imperfect senses? Our eyes are blind outside the range of 400 to 700 millimicron wavelength of light, right? We cannot grasp beyond this range of the wavelengths. 400, below 400 and above 700, right? It's very like your X-ray waves, radio waves. We cannot see; they're out of the visible range. Can you see these rays? No, we cannot see. We don't have the capability to see it. Similarly, our ears also are deep outside the range of 20 Hz to 20 kHz. Below 20 Hz we cannot hear, and also above 20 kHz we cannot hear. This is the audible range for us. We cannot do this. Therefore, our senses are not perfect; they are imperfect. Okay. There are many things happening around us beyond these range also. We are unable to grasp it. Okay. So now, this is a Nobel Prize winning physicist, right? Eugen Wigner points out that an uninformed scientist may boast will use the instrument outside the range of perceiving things. Even if we photograph stars, eventually we have to take in by our senses what the photo shows. Furthermore, without our senses, we cannot handle a camera. Even if we amplified, refined by instruments, the knowledge is no more perfect than our imperfect senses. Okay? So the knowledge is always, because this knowledge we are creating, it is through our imperfect senses. Obviously, it will give the idea of, it will have an imperfection, right? Any device, any equipment we develop, right? So are we really big enough to understand big things? Science within the range of perception and science beyond the range of perception. Till now we don't have understanding of science beyond the range of perception. Whatever we have seen nowadays, whatever science or scientific theory is based on the range of perception. It is not beyond the range of perception, right? So how big we are? It's very, even our ears also unable to distinguish between the hissing of cooker and train. Similarly, our tongues also sometimes, if we take orange after sugar, it feels very sour, and orange after lemon, it feels sweet. Similarly, skin also, right? Same water. If it is touched with warm hand, it feels cool, and touched with cold hand, it feels warm, right? So therefore, it based on the environment. So what we are seeing here, we cannot see anything in the darkness. Can you see anything? Huh? Why? Why you cannot see anything in the darkness?
Light cannot come to the eyes.
There is no light. Light is in your eyes or light is in your eyes?
The object is not reflecting any light.
कभी कभी आप डॉक्टर से सुना होगा आँख की रोशनी चली गई, इसका मतलब क्या है? आँख से रोशनी आता है बाहर से देखो। डॉक्टर से नहीं सुना आप लोगों को आँख की रोशनी चली गई नहीं सुना है कि नहीं? आपने सुना है? रोशनी कहाँ से आती है? आँख से आती है बाहर से?
देखने वाला दृष्टा तो यहाँ
रिफ्लेक्ट होकर चला गया।
ये तो कैमरे की तरह काम कर रहा है।
आया टकरा कर वापस चला गया।
वो तो सेंस काम करती है तब वो हमको इंस्ट्रक्शन देती
When sun rises, the darkness is dispelled, right? Darkness का कोई existence नहीं है, कोई existence है darkness? Is there any existence of darkness? Darkness is defined as absence of light. Huh? Yes, sir. So therefore there is no existence of darkness. If I will define darkness, how will I define it? It is absence of light. So without light we cannot define darkness. Can we define darkness without light? So therefore,
So you can say opposite as well. Without that, the universe we can think, na?
opposite means
Can we define darkness like the way you are defining light?
light is light, brightness, it has light we can define otherwise. It is bright, it gives us visibility, we can define it. But darkness I will define.
But the darkness is not actually defined in the physical state.
What physical state?
Suppose अंधेरा में कोई किसी को मार दिया तो हो गया. So we can just feel it that someone is there.
ये सूत्र में जिसमें ब्रह्मांड की उत्पत्ति और उसकी डिविजन से संबंधित अध्याय है, उसमें यह बताया गया है ऋग्वेद के नासदीय सूक्त में, जब दिन नहीं था, जब रात नहीं था, जब अंधकार नहीं था, जब प्रकाश नहीं था, जब सत्य नहीं था, जब असत नहीं था, सब क्या था?
अंधेरा ही था।
तब कैसे गिरते गर्भ से अस्तित्व की उत्पत्ति हुई।
Because this is dark planet. पहला अंधेरा ही था।
If there is black hole, there must be white hole also.
So the perfect knowledge is obtained. All the illusion is dispelled. Right? This is the definition of light. Figure one क्या देखें? Figure one में क्या देखें?
लेकिन उड़ा उड़ी हो जाएगा तो लगी है ना देख नहीं फिगर में सही से देखिए ना पहले विजिबिलिटी पहले सही से फिगर को देखिए हाँ फिगर में बहुत फिगर है फिगर दिखा रहा है किधर फिगर के अंदर में बहुत फिगर है सही से देखते अभी ले जाओ स्टेक हो रहा है सबसे
मुझे तो कोई एक भी ट्रायंगल नहीं दिख रहा है। ट्रायंगल है।
ट्रायंगल है और
पाई की तरह तीन सर्कल है।
तीन सर्कल को कनेक्ट कर रहा है ट्रायंगल से।
रोहित तुमको क्या दिख रहा है? ट्रायंगल दिख रहा है?
और डिफरेंट
So triangle just feel हो रहा है।
कैसे कटा हुआ है?
एक में पाई कटा हुआ है।
किसको? पूरा फिगर को हटा दे।
सर कह रहे हैं वो ब्लैक सर्कल
सीख गए हैं कलर अच्छा वो व्हाइट बोर्ड चाह रहे हैं सर
व्हाइट बोर्ड ऐसे नहीं व्हाइट बोर्ड नहीं व्हाइट बोर्ड निकल ना
वो ग्रीन पे क्लिक कीजिए एंटरटेनमेंट भी होना चाहिए पढ़ाई वाला कितने पढ़ते थे बैकरिंग
और के ड्रॉ Are you looking only on that spot only? इतना बड़ा स्पॉट नहीं दिख रहा है क्या जो हम जानते हैं वो सब कुछ है समग्र है एक बूंद जानते हैं और जो नहीं जानते हैं वो पूरा समग्र है
हाँ
थैंक यू बहुत अच्छा वो ड्रॉप पूरा समुद्र है पूरा संसार जो है पूरे समुद्र में ऐसे तो इसमें क्या दिख रहा है ट्रायंगल दिख रहा है
यस
ट्रायंगल है
महसूस कर रहे हैं सर
सर वो एक गेम आता था ना बैटमैन
ट्रायंगल का ये तो व्हाइट स्पेस है व्हाइट स्पेस में कुछ रखा है उसको कटा हुआ है
सर उसके बीच का जो एरिया है उसको अगर हम इमेजिनरी टाइप
जोड़ेंगे
से
तो
हाँ
ट्रायंगल बनेगा
या
जोड़ा गया नहीं ना
हाँ लेकिन फील कर रहे हैं कि हाँ हो सकता है
अभी तो जोड़ा नहीं आप triangle
मैथमेटिक्स वाले लोग एजम्पशन करते हैं सर
बिना जोड़ के ट्रायंगल बना दी
हाँ एजम्पशन करके जो यहाँ पे हो सकती है
perceiving beyond the perception okay figure 2 बोल रहे यंग भी दोनों हैं
मिडिल एज है सर
दोनों ही नहीं दोनों फिगर 3 में फिगर 3 में
ये सब जापानी है मुझे बोलता है
ओके गुड सब लोग रिकॉग्नाइज कर रहे हैं ठीक है ना लाइट चल रहा है okay there are many misconceptions previously it was gradually also developed brain was thought of as an organ to pull the blood the pituitary glands also or master glands are considered as bases useless tissue in the body.
मास्टर प्लान
And three astronauts also recently discovered significant mistake in Hubble constant. There are many developments we see, right? And why this development? जैसे हम लोग स्कूल में पढ़ते थे ना कितने प्लैनेट आप सर कितने प्लैनेट पढ़े थे स्कूल में आप भी पढ़े थे ना लेकिन अभी नहीं है
खत्म हो गया मन में
एक गायब हो गया
क्या फर्क है
कहाँ गया वो
फर्क नहीं है
सर बोले पता नहीं कहाँ तो इसलिए there is another fraud it was discovered in Piltdown it is actually it long back 1953 1912 it was claimed that this skull is of a monkey and from monkey the human skull is evolved human body is developed or evolved right so when it was found sometime after in 1953 the fraud was revealed that the monkey jaw was filed okay filed means it filed properly so that it looks like the human skull
So Charles Darwin, who has written only of a species, and he has propounded this view, sir.
yes so therefore we have limited senses if you ask God then everybody will ask where is God
But he is not very clear about Balmanu, Orang, Utan, and Nanda.
simple words
Homo sapiens and sapiens, Homo erectus and erectus, he is not very clear.
it was lateral actually divine classified when you were there it was not there lateral classified so the illusion is that man looks like monkey so therefore we think this theory of evolution came given by Darwin in this way there is certain assumptions based on that he gave this theory right? So mistake is that men came from monkeys right and cheating is fabricate and suppress the evidence which it is said so this is the way we do our similarly we go to Anuman Praman is not reliable. The statement given by Charles Darwin, it was found from the record of rocks that it cannot happen because human being also existing from millions of years ago. The record of there is a book Human Evolution given by Michael Kramer. He mentioned that this human beings are also existing from millions of years ago, like monkeys. How can we say that monkeys were actually evolved and that the human body is developed from monkey, right? So this is how it is based on the hypothesis and it is called Anuman Praman. Hypothesis on the knowledge acquired by the direct perception. What is perceive the knowledge based on certain assumption, we give a theory. Like of course Darwin gave an experiment. Based on that experiment he gave this theory. But that experiment is not 100% true. He has given certain assumptions, taken certain assumptions, based on that he proposed this theory. Right? Origin of species. Right? So therefore you can see here later he wrote to his student A.R. Wallace in December 20, 1857. Darwin writes that I am a firm believer that without speculation there is no good origin observation. Okay? So speculation is a must. हमारे बच्चे भी करते हैं जितने यहाँ साइंटिस्ट सब बैठे हैं बिना स्पेकुलेशन के हम कुछ कर ही नहीं सकते assumptions speculation so without that we cannot give any scientific theory even every theory we see in this world it is based on assumptions without assumption we cannot do so similarly Darwin also gave this theory based on assumptions. After 5 years of work, I allowed myself to speculate on the subject and drew up some sort of notes These are enlarged in 1844 in the states of conclusions which seem to me probable origin of species. So probable, we mentioned the word probable, might be, but it was accepted as the universal truth. Right? To suppose that the eye could have been formed by evolution seems, I freely confess, absurd in the highest degree. Okay? So these are the latest from Charles Darwin, his student. Right? This is a record of rocks. It was human beings and monkeys simultaneously existed millions of years ago. It is not that human being was not existing and only monkeys were existing and monkeys are our forefathers.
मिलियन
Not
पहले
that.
से था 2
Monkeys
मिलियन
cannot be our forefathers. Is it so?
They are our gods.
Yes.
चिरंजीवी हनुमान
Hanuman. Yes. Yes, good. Not all monkeys. Hanuman.
सर
Hanuman.
अबुल फजल ने इस घटना का जिक्र भी किया है कि जब अकबर में सर्दी देखनी चाहिए तुलसीदास जी को बंद कर दिया गया था। शायद रामचरित मानस आप जानते ही होंगे, मैं क्या बताऊंगा।
Yes.
किसी ने लिखवाया था उनसे, लिखने वाले कोई और थे। बंदरों का उत्पाद इतना बढ़ा तो बिरबल से पूछनी पड़ी कि क्या करना पड़ेगा। वो काहे लाइन को रखे हुए को छोड़िए ना, ऐसे ही खत्म हो जाएगा, तो चैन से नहीं रह पाइएगा। हुआ भी वही सर, रामचरित मानस लिखा ही गया वही, उतने ही छंदों में, उतने ही दिनों में, जितने दिन कारावास में। वैसे ही जैसे मैडम HP बलावट की लिखती थी, लिखते समय आंखें ऊपर हो जाती थी, लेखनी कोई और चलाता था।
ऐसे कई ग्रंथ लिखा गया।
यस सर, अड़ियार में जो हुआ था, महर्षि अरविंदो का जो ऑरोविलो आश्रम है, अड़ियार को सेंटर बनाया गया था, थियोसॉफिकल सोसाइटी का। ऊपर से बुद्धा आकर लिखते थे, आंखें उनकी ऊपर हो जाती थी। बाद में वो चैप्टर भी बचा हुआ है उनका, 2 सेक्शंस में लिखी गई थी, जिसमें बाद में पूछा भी गया था कि मैडम इसे पूरा क्यों, मैंने लिखी ही नहीं है, लिखने वाला कोई और है, समझ में नहीं आता, ये आंखें में बैठती हूँ।
Correct, correct. That is perception. Perceiving beyond perception. Okay, we cannot perceive. So human evolution, right? There is a book. This is the very contemplated Darwin theory. Michael Graham, the author of this book. You can study this book also. Okay. This is Anuman Praman. Anuman Praman is not very reliable. Newton's law also, the Newton's laws of motion, they are assumed, they are accepted as universal truth. But later on it was found that it is not accepted for microscopic world, right? And also Max Planck quantum theory, Einstein relative theory, they are very contradictory to each other. Okay, statement astrophysicist Steven Weinberg also gave a statement. 17th century, Newton discovered this laws of motion, and 20th century it was found that the microscopic world showed that Newton's laws were not applicable there. Okay, it is only applicable to the large mass bodies. 20th century Max Planck also proposed quantum physics to explain the behavior of the subatomic particles. And Albert Einstein also proposed general theory of relativity. Okay, to explain many observed cosmic phenomena. But these two are very contradictory. Newton's law, which were once considered universal, are now understood to apply only for large objects moving at the speeds far lesser than the speed of light. It is not applicable to the microscopic world, and also the objects which are moving at the speed of light, it is not possible for those objects. The two pillars of modern physics, quantum and relativity, they are violently contradictory. That is, both of them cannot simultaneously true. Okay, one we should accept, either relativity, theory of relativity or quantum. Okay, both we cannot accept. 20th century, that's why Nobel laureate astrophysicist Steven Weinberg advocates, as we make progress understanding the expanding universe, the problem itself expands, so that the solution always seems to recede from us. Okay, whatever problem we are trying to solve, we are advancing in many ways, but still the problems are actually expanding. As we solve one problem, many problems comes out of that, right? Therefore, this universe is very huge, and so if Pratyaksha and Anuman are not reliable, then are we condemned to live forever in ignorance? No. The operation successful, patient dead. Is it so? No. So there is another way of approach we call Sabda Pramana, right? Sabda Pramana is the authoritative source we get the knowledge, like the mother to the children, right? Sabda and Pratyaksha both simultaneously should go. Okay. Pratyaksha Pramana is through our senses we perceive it, and simultaneously the authoritative source must be there to guide us. Okay. Then only we will proceed. Then only there will be no illusion, no failure, right? This other Pramana also we hear from the bona fide authority in different sources, right? Like the Shastra is given for us. In Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned, Evam Parampara Praptam, Imam Rajashev. This knowledge comes through the disciplic succession, right? And the logical need for scriptures, you can see this, why we need the scriptures. Like, we need a manual for the car to run, right? Similarly, in order to maintain this body or bodily activity, we need the scriptures to how to run this body, how to maintain this body, right? This is a manual for us, right? So there are various facts, we call it mythology, but actually these Vedas are not mythology. A lot of knowledge is embedded in it. We will explore it, we will find a lot of Vedas, we accept mother, it is authoritative for us, right? So therefore we cannot say this is mythology. Myth means what? Huh? Myth means? Myth. It is not.
That is not pure scientifically tested.
It is not true. Then sometimes we say it is imaginary or something, right? काल्पनिक हम लोग बोलते हैं क्या कल्पना सा है काल्पनिक यानी तो इसको actually वो है नहीं. Whatever the Vedas say, it is a perfect knowledge. If we perfectly see it inside, even previously people used to use the cow dungs, right? If you know, if somebody is from village, you might be knowing, right? The cow dungs were used for purification purposes. Why it was being used? There is scientific reason also. It was later on discovered in the laboratory also that cow dung has the most purifying agent inside it. Okay, so it is very organic and it has a very purifying everything for every aspect. Therefore, it is used for special for puja for different aspects. Right? Why? It is because it is purifying, most purifying agent, right? So our Vedas mythology, it is not, because Lord Rama's Setu found in Indian Ocean also, right? It is from the NASA report, you can see it, right? From the Sanskrit report of NASA, it was written clearly, it was given this report also that there was a breeze between Sri Lanka and India, right? Similarly, Dwarika, about the Dwarika city also, it has been discovered. Similarly, we cannot say that it was not there. Only we assume that, oh, no, it is 5,000 years ago and nothing there. No. Everything was there.
Physical evidences are also present, sir.
Huh?
When Lord Rama migrated from Chitrakoot to Lanka, exactly the same botanical thing is still happening and flourishing there.
Yes,
Nowadays.
Correct.
How we can discard it?
But people say mythology.
Now you can name it mythology or religion, whatever you need. But this is the truth.
Yes, this is the truth. Because NASA also proved this, right? So the scientific evidence also shows the same thing. So how can we say this is mythology, right? So therefore, Vedas actually, it is not only, we can say that Indians rather than Indians, the Westerners are adopting nowadays, but they have the Vedic centers of research. They are doing research on the Vedas, They have special.
They were looters, plunderers, who had already stolen all our
Your
religious
Vedas also
structures.
they are stealing because you are not doing anything.
Or knowledge. I'm just giving an answer where we talk in terms of Rig Veda, there are 5 branches of Rig Veda. Shakal, Vastu, Aswara, Sankhya.
You know only, but they.
Shankha, only Shakal Prapathak is available in India. Why there is available in the Asiatic Society of West Bengal? Why this is preserving in Francis Society?
BP है
Why this is
डॉक्टर
available in German Asiatic
Yes.
Society? Why they are not giving us? This is our practice, sir. We shall have to come
You
back.
are not using them, for they are not giving.
But they are developing fifth generation, sixth generation fighting clan on the basis of our religious scriptures. And we
They are
are
developing, but we are not using, we are not unable to develop. Therefore, we have
I agree
to.
on that. It is very unfortunate. But Indian minds read between the lines. We read 1 or 2 decades. We will not remain far behind.
Yes, very good. This we should do it together. Okay. But we have to go ahead with the Vedic way, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So this is from. Okay, these are the Parampara system, Vedic process of education, right? How the education system was in Gurukul system previous. Gurukul system was a very sustainable model. Nowadays it is not sustainable. We beg for the service job, right? Before coming to
First
college.
of all, they destroyed our own educational system and later they imposed the English system.
Who destroyed? Who destroyed? You adopted this. Okay. Of course, they have planned to destroy it. We adopted, therefore they destroyed this system of education, Indian education system. Right? Who is that person? Can anybody know? Anybody knows? Huh?
Lord Macaulay,
Yes. He did a very beautiful research on this.
Thomas Babington Macaulay, who was not regarded as an educationist in his own country, but he has given us our English education system.
Yes. And he actually proposed to eradicate this in
तब
India.
भी सारे इंग्लिश में बोल रहे हैं
Huh?
सब लोग इंग्लिश में बोल रहे
English.
ये चीज नहीं बोलना चाह रहा है
इसीलिए सब रिलेटिव है
हैं हिंदी में बोल ही नहीं रहे हैं सर संस्कृत और हिंदी में बोल ही नहीं रहे हैं इंग्लिश में बोले जाते हैं
इसलिए हिंदी में बोलिए हाँ.
हाँ
So scriptures are textbooks, Guru is professor. Actually, previously in Gurukul, they are used to observe the student very carefully. They carefully study what qualities are there, how he can be developed. Nowadays we don't study. The student comes, we take salary and we feed him something and he writes something in the exam, he passed out, he takes some package and goes out. This is the model of our system.
I'd like
Previously,
to add something.
Huh?
In our education system, earlier character was in the center. Now
Yes.
character part is missing, skill and then salary and then competition. These are things like
skill also
testing.
missed. Nowadays skill also missed. We are not. We have
ये
no
कि द्रोणाचार्य
skills.
गिरवी रख दिए शिक्षा तभी से चला रही है ये स्थिति, वरना उसके पहले तो गुरुकुल अलग अलग हुआ करते
Actually, जब तक
गुरुजन अलग
कैरेक्टर नहीं रहेगा ना, स्किल भी नहीं रहेगा.
इसीलिए तो कहा character was in
हाँ,
the center.
कैरेक्टर नहीं रहेगा तो स्किल भी नहीं डेवलप कर सकते. We cannot develop the skills.
जब से राजकीय अनुदान मिलने लगा तब से स्थिति बिगड़ने लगी।
हाँ?
जब तक इंडिपेंडेंट था गुरुकुल तब तक बाकी अलग
Yes.
आईआईटी को भी अनुदान मिलता है
मिलता है, लेकिन आपको ऑटोनॉमी भी मिली हुई है।
सबको मिलता है, लेकिन फिर भी we should try to develop the systems. We should embed a system and develop the system, self-sustaining system, right? So here are Vedic knowledge system. We can see so many scriptures we have, but hardly we know any scripture, right? You can see here Smriti, Smriti, right? There are different branches of Vedas, Upavedas, Vedangas, right? Different, all knowledge is there inside it. Knowledge like your medical science, also military science, everything is there, right? So we are unable to exploit it. So So there are many things inside our Vedas. So therefore, along with the Western education, we should parallelly also learn this Indian knowledge system. This is very important, right? This gives us a bona fide knowledge. This is a bona fide knowledge system, right? Like this story, what? This story is story of 6 blind men. Huh? सुने होंगे? सुने हैं ना? पढ़े स्कूल में पढ़े? हायर सेकेंडरी में। आजकल ये स्टोरी नहीं होता है। आजकल तो नहीं होती है स्टोरी। Okay, so we'll stop here. These are the summaries. There are 3 ways of gaining knowledge: Pratyaksha, Anuman, and Sabda Praman. Pratyaksha Praman is direct sense perception, right? And also Pratyaksha Praman has a problem of this because it is related 4 defects of our senses, right? 4 defects: perfect senses, to illusion, to commit mistakes, and fit information. The Anuman Praman is based on hypothesis dependent on sense perception also. And Sabda Praman is hearing from bona fide authority. So Pratyaksha and Anuman gives relative knowledge like mute karo. Yeah? मेरा बैठ म्यूट है मेरा अनम्यूट कर दो Okay, Sabda Praman gives the absolute knowledge and is most reliable and accurate way of functioning. Okay, so we'll stop here and you will have now a tour to the campus. So to IC you can visit our incubation center. Rohit will guide you. देखो IC कि नहीं? हाँ? उसमें क्या है? Incubation center. हाँ? तो incubation center को जाइए करके देख के फिर वहाँ से आप अंदर जा सकते हैं। ओके? बस आ गए लेके मुझे बना।
कभी नहीं ले लीजिए फिर आएंगे तो दे दीजिएगा